Hello, you guys. Welcome back to my channel, Just Des TV. Thank you guys for stopping by. This is the Never Mets. We're going to do a little quick revamp real quick. The hair, I washed it. I was supposed to braid it, but I can't because I got this going on my nails, as y'all know from my last video. So I can't really braid my hair this week. So I'm going to try to do it as my hair gets tangled up really quickly now. And so I'm gonna try to do it as a carefree of a style just to get me through this week so I could get these off my nails and braid my hair because I'm tired of my hair being out. It's summertime and it's just a poof mess. But anyway, the Never Mets, child, episode 6. I think I'm gonna give Love Island a try, only because I feel like I want to watch it just to see what the skinny is, child, just to see what the skinny is. Anyway, so we start off where we left off last time. The pastor and the sisters, they're still arguing again and again, and I agree with the sister again and again. Everything that she says, you know, she's telling Diamond that if he's so quick to call her the B word, to imagine what he could say to her in a relationship. And I was saying the same thing. People who fly off like off the handle like that will eventually get to the same point that you. Case in point, in a relationship, right? And this was when I was young. I was like 18. And homeboy used to argue with his mother and his grandmother like crazy, say crazy things to them, yelling back and forth. They used to be arguing forever. And I'm sitting there like, oh, he tells me he loves me. He's never gonna act like that to me, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward about 6 years, maybe 10. And sure enough, here we go. Not even 10, 3 years. And sure enough, I was the next target on a chopping block, and I was being treated the same way. But it was always in the back of my head, like, oh, he loved me. He wouldn't do that to me. He wouldn't treat me that way. He wouldn't say those things to me. Yeah, he did. So I agree with the sister. And that's the only reason why I say that is because I have my own stories. But I agree with the sister. Diamond, he says he would never say that to her, but I'm just like, child, you helped yourself to that argument, because you should have never brought your friend in there at that time while she was having a heated conversation with her sister. You invited yourself into that conversation, and you invited yourself into that argument. Like I said the last review, and that's how I feel, and I'm gonna stand on it. That's just how I feel. It is what it is. You didn't have to introduce your friend at that time, but you chose to do it because you wanted to say something to the sister. Anyway, Diamond goes crying to Millie, and Millie's trying to understand and give her words of advice and, let her know that her sister loves her and that she cares for her, which is true. Aaron said he wanted to have nice things to say to his sister, but then he heard her, saying stuff to Diamond about him that wasn't true, so that's when he had a problem with it. And I'm just like, yeah, we know. That's why I said you invited yourself to that conversation, because you heard her saying bad things about you, so you wanted to say something. You admitted it just now. He's too worried about Diamond picking sides, and I'm just like, why would she pick a side between you and your sister? Why would she need to pick a side between you and your sister? Yes, the situation calls for her to be like eye-opening and be like, all right, I got to take another look at this relationship, but why would you want her to pick a side between you and your sister? That's like driving a wedge between her and her sister. That's her family. But that's, how it goes. He apologized to Diamond, and she is ecstatic. Okay, girl. Okay, because girl is going to rise again eventually. Chris says it's a lot of sexual tension with him and Sandia. And he wants the boom boom room with her. He's been trying for the last 2 episodes. So that's his mission. I hear you, sis. Brother, I hear you. Jody and little Aaron talk about what happened, when she was younger and her situation. And I feel like they are stuck in that area, and they use that as a crutch to propel their relationship forward. But I think y'all been having that conversation. Just move on to something different. How can y'all work with each other to make it better? But they don't have that conversation. They still stuck in that space with her because she uses that as a crutch. The other guys are outside talking, and Greg wants Millie and Chris to have a conversation about what happened last episode, because they had a big blow up and she called them the B word. So they sit down to have a conversation, Greg and Millie. Millie is telling the truth about what catapulted her in order for her to say the things that she said about Chris, and Chris says to her that she's getting loud and she's screaming. And I'm just like, she didn't change her tone. She was talking just like how I'm talking to you. She was just saying things that were like hitting him because trying to get him to take accountability. And because he is a person that doesn't want to take accountability for his actions, he wants to project and deflect. And that's what he did in that moment, deflect. He deflected by saying that she was being argumentative, combative, and then he found a reason to get up and walk away. But that was his goal anyway, because he doesn't want to be held accountable for his actions. And so she called him the B word again, and that's when he got up and stormed off and walked away. But then he goes and talks to Greg, talking about, he needs to talk to you need to talk to your girl, blah blah blah. But then he's like, I don't want to argue with a lady, but then he starts arguing with a lady because she comes in there and she's yelling and screaming, trying to explain like, no, I tried to tell you what was what and why I said what I needed to say. And then they get into an argument. He calls her a slut while he was walking away. She raised her voice then, and then they was arguing. But he was deflecting. He wanted to escape accountability, so he used the B word situation to escape that accountability of what really happened, why they got to the place that they got to, which was initially him triangulating Sandia and Jody and making Sandia feel lesser than. That was the initial argument. And the B word kind of like strayed them away from that, which I'm sure he was happy about, because it is what it is. So they go back and forth. The whole house gets involved. Yada, yada, yada. They start arguing back and forth. He calls her the S word. And then Big Aaron comes in and minds people's business like him and Diamond has been doing the whole season. So he comes in and says the B word seems like it comes easily to her, and she needs to stop saying it. Now, this is bold of you to come in and say that the B word comes easily to her and she needs to stop using it, when you just called Diamond's sister the whole B word and said a whole lot of other things to her, but yet it comes easily to Millie. And cursing seems to, for you to be a pastor, cursing seems to come super easy to you, because you didn't hesitate to stress that, and you told her to get the F up out of y'all business, did you not? Immediately. So it's like the pot calling the kettle. You should be minding your own business. You and Diamond have your own fish to fry, but yeah, y'all in everybody's business. And this season, these 2 episodes was the worst. Yeah, y'all in everybody's business. The next 2 episodes, which is annoying. Y'all have your own business to deal with. Especially when that sister could see right through you. And that's what you're trying to prevent. So go deal with that instead of being in Chris's business and Millie's business. Anyway, Sandia's in on the conversation, and she automatically believes what Chris says to her. But I'm like, girl, you wasn't there. So for you to sit down and have a conversation with Millie, not sit down and have a conversation with Millie, but for you to chime in when Millie is trying to explain, and then you say, you find out that she called him the B word again, and she was yelling and screaming. Like, did you hear her yelling and screaming? Because normally when everybody in the house, somebody's yelling and screaming, all of y'all come running. Nobody came running until he went out and started talking to Greg, and he got loud. That's when everybody started coming. So then who was really yelling and screaming? Not her, initially, right? So you just run, that's the story you run with. And it's crazy how you could speak out to defend him to this woman about a situation that initially started with you. They were defending you, trying to take up for you because he made you feel lesser than. And here you are defending him. See how that works? That's why y'all should just mind y'all business and leave her alone. I could see what he's doing to Millie. Not Millie. I could see what he's doing to Sandia. So allow Sandia to go through it, because Sandia is going to continually, as after the last episode, Sandia is going to continue to believe everything that he tells her. She's that naive. So I say y'all mind y'all business when it comes to Chris and Sandia. Let him do to her what he will. I've washed my hands with her, especially after this situation with Millie. And then she wants to speak up after they initially started. The argument started because they were trying to speak up for you. And then you turn on her. I wash my hands with Sandia. So whatever happens to her, it just happens. I'm done with it. So Big Aaron's dad, little Aaron's dad, comes to meet. He comes to meet Jody. Child, his dad don't look like he have a son Aaron's age. Child, he does not. His dad looks younger than him. Aaron looks like the dad, to be honest with you, because he's so scruffy and whatever. Anyway, I love his dad. I love his dad. He tells his dad his dad tells him that he should listen to her, listen to her concerns, try to focus on her concerns and make sure that everything is okay with her in order for them to move forward. And he should support her, which I agree. It's good advice. His dad gave good advice. Jody's friend Cam came, and immediately they start talking about sex, and I'm just like, and romance, and did they do it yet? And I'm just like, is this something that she does often with men that she dates, for you to even start the conversation with that? Like, y'all didn't really talk about anything else, not his personality, not his characteristics, like none of that stuff, unless y'all talked about it and they cut it out. But like right off the bat, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? And she's like, no, and da 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 da. And I'm just like, girl, okay. So then Aaron introduces his dad, and to the guys. And Big Aaron feels that this is the opportunity that he needs to speak up and tell little Aaron's dad that Jody is not for him. And then Jody walks in on a conversation, and she hears him telling him that. And I'm just like, again, mind your business. Why do you feel the need to inform them of anything? His dad can formulate an opinion on his own once he sees them interact. And eventually Aaron will get it. You don't need to say anything to that grown man who probably has who definitely has a brain of his own and can probably formulate his own opinion. Anyway, and his dad didn't even like what he said. So see, you did all of that for nothing, dummy. Anyway, his dad gives him sound advice, and I like his dad. I like the dance that they had, the little dance session. She seemed like she was more attracted to the dad than she was to him, just from the salsa dancing, child. But I mean, it was a refreshing moment. I like the fact that his dad encouraged him to continue to get to the bottom of what's happening, and he can see that he's genuine, so he wants to see it wants him to see it to the end. I agree. The pastor tells the guys that he can't find anything wrong with Diamond, and he really plans on proposing to her before the end of the season. And I'm just like, that is a mistake if she accepts it. But that's just my opinion. Whatever. Greg and Millie have a conversation, like a little heart-to-heart, about the situations and the fact that why she's constantly on defense, because I think she feels bad about the Chris situation and how it played out. But it played out exactly how Chris wanted it to play out. So I'm not mad at Millie. That's the thing. I'm not mad at Millie. Even though I do think Millie does have an extreme side, I'm not mad at her about that specific situations, because that played out exactly how Chris wanted it to play out. Anyway, she explains that she is, has always had to be masculine, and she has to feel protected in order for her to become, for her femininity to come out. And I agree. It happens with a lot of women, and a lot of black women in particular. And because as black women always continually have to play the masculine role, we have to be the protectors and the providers for ourselves and our children. And we need to feel that security and that comfort in order for us to feel feminine. Like a lot of people say nowadays, though, black women are also masculine, but we have no other choice, because we have to protect our families and provide for our families ourselves. Not saying we out here looking for protectors and providers, but there's nobody in, we haven't seen anybody in that role. All of our role models is our strong black mothers. So what do you expect us to be? Strong black mothers? Not anymore though, because I tell my kids, be dainty, ask for help. You are not a strong black woman, child. You are feminine. You are weak. You need help. That's what I tell them all the time, child, all the time. We're not going to perpetuate that strong black woman stereotype over here. It's not, no, it dies here. It dies here. Greg says he's there for her, and you know, he's trying to understand and help her out and get her through it, which I think he's always been doing that. She just has to see it more, and they just have to communicate more. So the guys have a talk, and they discuss little Aaron being in the boom boom room, and they discuss Aaron being in the room with, sharing a room with Chris, while Chris was in there trying to get something from Sandia, and he was Putin. And they said that everybody is linked up with their girls, and he needs to be in a room with Jody because everybody else is hooked up in a room with their girls. And he said he'll have a conversation with Jody. So they kind of like put a battery in his back to act out of character, which I didn't like because he's impressionable. So in order to achieve him, in order for him to achieve this goal, they already moved his bed out of the room with Chris and Sandia, so that they could have that space to themselves. And then little Aaron is in the room with Jody, and he pushes the bed together because they had two separate beds. So he ended up pushing the bed together, and she woke up with him trying to kiss her on the forehead, and she was like, "What is happening?" You know, and she again reverted back to her trauma. But then she was like, you know, that's already a boundary that I had already set with you, so why would you cross that? That's because they put a battery in his back. So the guys should take the hit for that one, not her. They put a battery in his back for him to act out of character when him and her already had discussions, and he got to be accountable for that. And he did take accountability for that. He did apologize. But like I said, she doesn't like him. She feels unattached to him. So anything he does is going to get on her nerves. Trust me. Anything he does is going to get on his nerves. On her nerves. So that's just another excuse. Just so that she can pull away further. But like I said, he did apologize. Jody then explains the situation to her situation to more members of the group, and I'm kind of at a loss. She explained her situation to the group so that they can get a better understanding of her as an individual and how she moves and operates, right? But what I'm at a loss at is her reasoning behind becoming a smexologist is weird to me, because if you have a situation where things happen to you when you were younger, you can go either way. You can either introvert or you can become an extroverted, hyper, like she said, right? Where she said that she is hypersexual. And so I don't understand how she's trying to make it seem like it's a positive thing and it negates her being hypersexual, but I don't think that it does. I think it contributes to her being hypersexual. She just is unattracted to Aaron. That's why we haven't seen that side of her, because from day one he had already turned her off. But if it was Chris, I promise you she would have been in the boom boom room with him, like how Shay and Josh is in the boom boom room. I promise you that, because she seemed like that type. And I don't think that her situation, I just don't understand how that her becoming that a smexologist negates her situation, but then yet she still uses her situation as a crutch. It's odd to me. It just doesn't add up to me. I'll say that. So Millie and Greg speak with a relationship there, expert, Dr. Allie, and she says she doesn't want her past traumas to affect her current relationship with Greg, which I understand. A lot of people come into relationships with trauma and they don't really want to do that. So I applaud her for seeing it early and not wanting to bring it into their relationship so that they can move forward. They seem like they have a good understanding, but later on we'll see that maybe not so much, that they do need more communication. Greg shares that he had past traumas too, and he was abused, and that, you know, him helping her deal with her issues is kind of sort of helping him deal with his issues, but they still have to tackle it together. And then that goes off. It goes off like that with them having that conversation, you know, that he shares that he was, you know, assaulted as well. I feel like little Aaron and Jody need to give it up. I feel like they just milking the scenes. They need to give it up. I feel like the house needs to let Sandia experience Chris, because she clearly wants to. And then when he crumbles her into little pieces, and she gonna have to learn how to pick herself up, because that's what narcissists do. And she gonna learn how to have to pick herself up, or maybe she gonna stay down there. We don't know. But I feel like at the end of the day, she needs to experience him, because she tends to want to believe everything that he tells her. It is what it is. That's why I said she needs to experience him. Diamond and Big Aaron need to mind their business in other people's relationships and work on their own. They have unaddressed issues and problems that they need to deal with in their own relationship as far as that proposal goes, before they can actually butt in and help anybody else. And then every time they butt in and help somebody else, it's not really helping. It just spirals more out of control. So whatever. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys for episode 7. I'm going to put it out later in the week, and I'll see you guys for episode 7. I think next week I'm going to do 8 and 9, and hopefully that'll be it of this one, so I could start Love Island and give y'all Love Island chow. We're going to get into that. But yeah, thanks guys for stopping by. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.